The letter was beige, right? Beige like the soul of the person who sent it. Beige like the color of no fun allowed. Beige like the pulverized dust of 1,000 shredded dreams. And it was about a rock. I held that single sheet of 60 pounds cardstock in my hand, my coffee mug steaming, forgotten on the kitchen countertop. My wife, Anna, was upstairs wrangling our 6-year-old into something resembling school clothes, so I was alone with the beige violation. Dear Mr. Ethan Cole, it read, this letter serves as a formal notice of violation of the Crestwood Ridge Homeowners Association covenants, conditions, and restrictions. I hate that, Crestwood Ridge. The only thing that whispers around here is Victoria, the HOA president, into her phone when she's reporting someone's recycling bin for being prematurely deployed. I read on. A recent inspection of your property revealed an unapproved landscape alteration at the front left quadrant of your lot. Specifically, an unapproved mineral structure. I read the line again, mineral structure. Did they think I'd installed a diamond mine? Was I smuggling quartz out of my front yard under the cover of darkness? I walked to the front window, parting the blinds. There it sat, my rock. It wasn't a boulder, it wasn't a peak. It was a 3-foot wide, 2-foot high hunk of quartz-veined granite, all salt and pepper and dignity. Anna and I had bought it from a local landscaping yard to cover a bald spot in the lawn where the cable company had dug up the yard and apparently salted the earth behind them. It was tasteful, it was rustic, it was our little piece of the Adirondacks right here in suburban Virginia. Anna had named it the Unfindable. I looked back at the letter. A fine of $100 has been assessed to your account. This structure must be removed within 14 days. Failure to comply will result in further fines and potential legal action. $100 for a rock that was technically just a piece of the earth I was already paying a mortgage on. It wasn't an addition any more than a mole on my arm was an addition. It was just more land, but pointier. My coffee was cold, but my blood was hot. I grabbed my keys. Going out, I yelled upstairs. It's Monday, I shouted, slamming the door. And I'm going to talk about trash. Victoria Albright was in her natural habitat, standing on the sidewalk 3 houses down, holding a metal tape measure. Her neighbor, a meek-looking guy named Stan, was wringing his hands by his mailbox. Victoria, I said, walking up, clutching the beige letter. One moment, Ethan, she said, not looking at me. She clicked the tape measure. Stan, this is 41 inches. The guidelines clearly state 41 to 45 inches. You are compliant. Oh, thank God, Stan whispered, looking like he'd just been cleared by a parole board. He scurried back inside. Victoria turned to me, wearing a visor, a polo shirt tucked into pleated khaki shorts, and a look of profound, exhausted authority. Ethan, to what do I owe the pleasure? I held up the letter. This. You find my rock. Victoria sighed, a long-suffering sound, as if I had just asked her to explain algebra to a dog. Ethan, it's an unapproved alteration, Section 7B. You need to submit a Form 21A for any landscape additions over 18 inches. It's not an addition, Victoria. It's a rock. Did you get pre-approval for that visor? It's reflecting a glare that could be a hazard to drivers. She did not find this amusing. Did you submit the form, Ethan? No, because it's a rock. It's not a shed. It's not a fence. It's not even a particularly ambitious gnome. It's a heavy-duty paperweight for my lawn. The covenants, which you signed, she said, tapping her clipboard, are very clear. Any stone, mineral, or concrete structure. I didn't write the rules, Mark. That was her favorite line. I'm pretty sure she dreamed in bylaws. What if I bury it halfway? Then it's only 17 inches. Is it compliant then? Then it would be a subterranean hazard, Section 11C. Mark, I don't have time for hypotheticals. The fine will be $150 if it's not paid in 10 days, she said. You can, of course, appeal to the Architectural Review Committee. Our next meeting is this Thursday, 7 p.m. I suggest you bring your 21A form, but frankly, they don't look kindly on retroactive approvals. She turned and marched off, her tape measure swinging at her hip like a weapon. I stood on the sidewalk. The rock sat on my lawn, oblivious. Okay, I muttered to the rock. They want a mineral structure? We'll give them a mineral structure. The community center had all the charm of a dentist's waiting room. I arrived at 6:50 p.m. for the 7 p.m. meeting. The committee, Victoria, 2 of her acolytes, and a guy named Phil who always looked like he'd just woken up, sat at the front table. The proceedings were brutal. First, the committee rejected a neighbor's petition to approve a welcome mat with non-standard typography. Whimsy is a slippery slope, Janet, Victoria said. Motion to deny. Next, a grown man, Mr. Johnson, tried to defend his choice of antique white trim paint against the approved shade, Covenant Eggshell. They are identical, Paul. Covenant Eggshell has a 0.5% higher gray-blue pigment. Antique white is frankly gaudy. Motion to require repainting. Motion carries. I sat there for 45 excruciating minutes. Finally, Victoria said, the appeal of Mark Henderson, regarding the fine for an unapproved mineral structure. I walked to the front, trying for calm, rational neighbor. The item in question is a natural granite landscaping rock. It's not a structure. I'm asking for a little common sense. We're talking about a rock. Victoria let the silence hang in the air. Mark, rules are rules. You're asking for common sense, but common sense is subjective. My common sense tells me that if we allow one unapproved rock, what's next? Rock-based anarchy. You failed to submit the Form 21A. Appeal denied. My shoulders slumped. So what? I just pay the $100. Oh no. As you chose to wait for this appeal, the 10-day late period has passed. The fine is now $150. You have 10 days to pay it and remove the rock, or the fine doubles again. She turned and marched off, leaving me speechless. Later, at a generic suburban bar with my best friend, Rick, an engineer, I was ranting. She said, rock-based anarchy, Rick. Anarchy. And they found me again. It's $150. She keeps calling it a mineral structure, Rick said, stirring his drink. That's it. That's your in. You're bringing a water pistol to a forms and bylaws fight. She's using professional, pseudoscientific language to justify her power trip. So you use it back. You use it better. What am I supposed to do? Hire a lawyer? No. You need someone who deals with minerals and structures. You need a geologist, Rick confirmed, raising his glass. You get a certified, licensed, clipboard-holding, rock hammer-wielding geologist to come out and do a full survey, an assessment, a certification. You need to know if this structure is safe. Is it leaching anything? Is it, radioactive? Radioactive. The word was beautiful. The anger that had been simmering in my gut cooled. It solidified. It became something hard, dense, and wonderfully beautifully petty. You're not just approving a rock, Mark. You're commissioning a full geological report. And when you're done, you submit it to the board publicly. I pulled out my phone and opened Google. Rick, I said, a dangerous grin spreading across my face. You are a terrible, beautiful, evil genius. I typed geologists near me into the search bar. My first 2 calls were disastrous. They either hung up or suggested I needed a therapist. I was just the neighborhood weirdo calling scientists about his pet rock. My last shot was the local university, Department of Geological Sciences. Good afternoon, University Geology Department. This is Pam. Pam, I said, this is going to sound very weird. Please don't hang up. Honey, I've had a sophomore try to turn in a lava lamp as a fluid dynamics project and a professor call me from a volcano in Iceland to ask if I could water his ferns. Try me. I let it all out. The beige letter, Victoria, the mineral structure, the $150 fine, the rock-based anarchy. Pam paused. MHM, Crestwood Ridge, she said. Oh, yeah, we know Victoria. You want to fight a bureaucrat. You need a bigger bureaucrat. The person you want is Dr. Vera Vance. She loves this kind of thing. Says it funds her real research. One moment, I'll transfer you. This is Dr. Vance. I launched into the story for the 3rd time, but this time, I was concise. I've been fined for an unapproved mineral structure. I am not disputing the classification. I am seeking to comply with the HOA by commissioning a full geological analysis and certification of the specimen. There was a long pause. And is it? Dr. Vance asked, her voice flat and deadpan. A mineral structure, or is it just poorly sorted aggregate? We can't know until I do the field work. My knees felt weak with relief. You'll take the job? I certify geological formations, Mr. Cole. Your homeowners association has, through a binding legal mandate, defined this object as a geological formation. My job is not to question the mandate, but to analyze the formation. My rate is $200 an hour, 4-hour minimum, portal to portal. I will need to take a core sample for spectrographic analysis and prepare a petrographic report. I did some quick math. $800 retainer. Priceless. Yes, I said, full of conviction. Absolutely. When can you come? Tomorrow, 10 a.m. I'll need clear access to the specimen. Thank you, Dr. Vance. You have no idea. And Mr. Cole, she cut me off. Don't call it a rock again until my analysis is complete. It is the specimen. The next morning at 9:55 a.m., I was vibrating with nervous energy. Anna had finished yelling at me over the $800 retainer. Mark, justice doesn't usually require a core sample. At 10 a.m. on the dot, the muddy Toyota Tacoma pulled up. Dr. Vance got out in a fluorescent yellow safety vest, hard hat, and steel-toed boots. She had a gas-powered core drill. The curtain twitching began immediately. Victoria's front door cracked open. Mr. Cole, where's the specimen? Dr. Vance grunted. I pointed to my rock. Dr. Vance circled it, gave it a sharp tink. It's an ancient specimen, at least 1.2 billion years old. It's the Toyota Camry of rocks. Now please step back. I need to set up the drill. The sound of a two-stroke engine firing up is not common in Crestwood Ridge. Mark, Victoria's voice was a shriek. She was stomping across my lawn, clipboard in hand. What is going on here? You are running a business. This is a violation of 8C, home-based enterprises. I took a gleeful, defensive step back. Brenda, I'm just getting my mineral structure certified as per your letter. This is Dr. Vera Vance. She's a doctor of geology. Dr. Vance looked up, safety goggles and anti-vibration gloves on. Ma'am, please stand back 5 meters. You are not wearing personal protective equipment. Victoria was vibrating. You are drilling. This is destruction. Dr. Vance let out a sigh of pure academic annoyance. Ma'am, I am a certified doctor of geology contracted by the property owner. I am conducting a state-authorized mineralogical survey to assess the composition and structural integrity of this formation, which your organization has legally defined. This is standard non-invasive field work. It's a drill. Victoria shrieked. It's a 20mm core sampler. Dr. Vance snapped back. If you continue to interfere with my work, I will be forced to add hazard pay and project delay fees to my invoice, which I will be happy to co-address to you and the HOA. Now please step back. You are not wearing safety goggles. Victoria was speechless. She had finally met a bureaucracy more powerful and more jargon-filled than her own. Her authority, a flimsy thing built on beige letters, crumbled. I shrugged. Just want to make sure it's safe for the community, Brenda. You called it a structure. What if there are spiders? Or, radioactive spiders. Victoria's face went pale. The word radioactive had landed. She took 2 involuntary steps back. Dr. Vance pulled the trigger. The drill bit into the granite with a high-pitched, wet-sounding whine. It was the loudest, most obnoxious, most beautiful sound I had ever heard in my life. The sound of scientific vengeance. Dr. Vance drilled for 2 solid minutes, extracted a perfect core sample, and sealed it. Initial fieldwork is complete. You'll have my full notarized report in 48 hours. She handed me a preliminary invoice. My 4-hour minimum. The lab work and final report generation will be extra. Good day, Mr. Cole. Brenda was still frozen, staring at the small, quarter-sized hole in my rock. She made a small, strangled noise, turned, and did the slowest, saddest walk of shame back to her house. The next day, the mail came. This letter wasn't beige. It was on heavy, bright white 100 pounds linen stock. The envelope read, Crenshaw, Bates and Lombard, attorneys at law. I read the word lien 3 times. Anna read the letter, and her face went pale. Mark, this isn't funny anymore. They're threatening our house. Just pay the fine. Let's move the rock. No, I said, my voice low. This letter is an act of desperation. She's scared of what Dr. Vance is going to find. Right now, they're probably wondering just how radioactive that thing is. We hold the line one more day. The next morning, Dr. Vance pulled up. She wasn't carrying a binder. She was carrying a tripod and another one of those yellow Pelican cases. Dr. Vance, where's the report? A report must be thorough, Mr. Cole. The lawyer's letter introduced a new variable, willful destruction of property. I'm taking final measurements to calculate the total volume, mass, and structural integrity. The report has to be ironclad. And then I heard Brenda's voice, a high-pitched, panicked shriek, directed at her phone. Yes, 911. I need an officer immediately. They're back. They're mining. A cruiser rolled up. Sergeant Miller, the older cop, got out. Ma'am, Miller said, his voice gravelly. What exactly am I looking at here? It's the mineral structure. Brenda shrieked. And they're destroying it. Dr. Vance simply handed Miller her laminated card. Dr. Aries Vance, State Certification 774A. I am a licensed geologist. This is a Class 2 laser measure. Here is my permit filed this morning with the county clerk for sidewalk-based survey work. Miller looked at Dr. Vance's credentials. He looked at Brenda. He pinched the bridge of his nose and let out a sigh that seemed to carry the weight of every ridiculous suburban dispute in history. Ma'am, he said to Brenda, his voice dangerously calm. This is a rock. It's an unapproved mineral structure. Brenda insisted, her voice cracking. Ma'am, this is a civil matter. It is not a 911 emergency. This woman is a state-licensed scientist with a permit. Do not, and I mean this, do not call 911 again unless someone is bleeding, on fire, or actively committing a crime. Do you understand me? Brenda was speechless. Her face had gone from puce to a mottled, pasty white. She had brought in the cavalry, and they had just told her she was the problem. The community center that night was packed. Rock Gate was the biggest scandal in Crestwood Ridge history. Victoria looked contained, rigid, clutching the lawyer's letter. She thought she had an ace. What she didn't know was that I had a geologist. Next on the agenda, she said, dripping with ice. Mark Henderson, for the final notice from our legal counsel, are you prepared to pay your fines and remove the unapproved structure? The room was dead silent. I stood up. Brenda, I said, my voice clear. No, I have not removed it, and I am not here to pay the fine. I continued, because as you, the board, and your very expensive lawyers have so clearly pointed out, this is a serious mineral structure. I'm here tonight to submit my findings for the board's official review. Right on cue, the double doors at the back swung open. Dr. Vera Vance. She was wearing a charcoal gray blazer and dark slacks, a prosecutor. In one hand, she carried her laptop. In the other, a thick spiral-bound report. My apologies for my tardiness, she said, her voice cutting through the silence. I was triple-checking the isotopic decay signatures. Who? What? You are not on the agenda, Victoria sputtered. I am Dr. Vera Vance, a certified doctor of geology, she announced. I am here as a paid consultant to present my findings on HOA violation 4247B. The projector flickered. The first slide read, Geological Analysis and Certification, Specimen 9450A. The Oakwood Gneiss. The specimen is a metamorphic rock, specifically a 1.3 billion-year-old Precambrian gneiss. It is geologically unremarkable, but structurally sound. This is a joke. We are not here for a science lesson. Victoria snapped. Dr. Vance fixed Victoria with a look of pure, cold, academic condescension. You classified it. I am providing the classification. Your lawyer's letter cited destruction of property, and your 911 call cited public hazard. I am here to address those claims directly. Click. Safety and hazard analysis. A full-spectrum gamma-ray spectrometer reading shows the specimen emits 0.12 microsieverts per hour. This is less radiation than you would receive from a single dental X-ray, your own granite countertops, or eating one banana. The specimen is, by all federal and state definitions, non-hazardous and non-radioactive. Click. Structural integrity. My core sample and laser volume analysis confirm the specimen is competent, non-friable, and poses zero risk of unapproved mineralization bleed, or to address a specific concern raised by the homeowner, radioactive spider habitation. Click. Her final slide had only 2 words. Conclusion. It's a rock. The Oakwood Gneiss is a harmless, aesthetically neutral, and geologically stable example of Earth's ancient history. It violates no state or federal hazard codes. It is, by every scientific, legal, and rational definition, just a rock. She turned off the projector. She took the thick, spiral-bound 22-page report and placed it in front of Victoria with a heavy, definitive thud. And here, Dr. Vance said, pulling a single white envelope from her blazer pocket, is my final itemized invoice. She slid it right on top of the report. I have addressed this to the Crestwood Ridge HOA. As you were the party legally requiring this certification by classifying the specimen, threatening a lien based on its uncertified status, and dispatching emergency services to my work site. My fee is $2,450, net 30. The room was so quiet you could hear the ballast and the fluorescent lights humming. Victoria's mouth opened and closed. Gary, the sleepy board member, looked at the total and his eyes went wide. From the back of the room, a single slow clap. Then another. Then the entire room, the oppressed masses of Crestwood Ridge, was on its feet, giving a deafening, roof-raising standing ovation. They weren't clapping for me. They were clapping for Dr. Vance, and for the beautiful, glorious $2,450 invoice sitting on Victoria's table. It was the sound of rock-based anarchy, and it was beautiful. So, I want to hear from you. Was hiring a geologist for $2,450 to fight a $150 fine the most insane act of revenge, or was it the only way to beat the system? Drop your take in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe if you think science should always win over small-town tyrants.